Okay, so this is your warm-up for section 3.1. So go ahead and get your warm-ups out. Remember, you don't have to copy this down or any of these down, just section 3.1 warm-up, 1 through 5, and answer them. This is very similar to what your quiz is going to look like on testing you over these vocabulary terms we talked about yesterday. So pause it, work on it for 5 minutes, and then unpause and check your answers. Okay, so as we're looking at this, let me get my pen to work here. So 2 and 7. So 2 is here, 7 is here. So notice these are the two lines, this is the transversal. So 2 and 7 are outside of these two lines, therefore these are diagonal and alternate exterior angles, or AEA for short. Okay, then we look at 4 and 5. 4 and 5, those are between the two lines and diagonal, so those are alternate interior angles. Remember, the alternate is diagonal. Interior means they're between or inside these two lines. 4 and 8. 4 and 8. 4 is in the bottom right corner of this group of 4. 8 is in the bottom right corner of this group of 4. Those were corresponding angles. 6 and 4. So these are interior angles because they're both between the two lines, but these are the consecutive interior angles or same side interior angles because they're on the same side of the transversal. So you could either put an SSIA or CIA, but you don't have to put both. You pick one that you like. And then 3 and 7 here and here. So 3 is in the bottom left, 7 is in the bottom left. So therefore those are corresponding angles again. Okay, so key to this quiz and this whole chapter really is identifying these types of angles. And then today we're going to learn something about these angles when we know that these lines here that are cut by the transversal, these lines are parallel, then that gives us more information about these 4 different types of angles. Okay? All right, next let's look at bookwork. So you can pause if you need to make sure and get that out. So I'm going to go over a few of the problems, not going to go over all of them. So you had pages 150 to 151, number 1, 3 through 6, 18 through 23, and then 28. I don't have 18 through 23 up here because that is just like the warm-up we just did and like example 2 that we did yesterday where you're identifying the different angles. So this 3 through 6 part, think of each segment in the diagram as part of a line. So this is like example 1 that we did on yesterday's notes. Which lines or planes contain point B and appear to fit the description? Okay, so think of this aquarium. You've got 6 different planes, the top, the bottom, the right, the left, and the front and the back. Okay? Now, notice in all of our choices, our answers have to have point B in it. Okay? So when I go, let me change colors here. There we go. We're looking at line or lines that's parallel to CD. So they drew that in for us. And it has to be parallel to CD, but also include that point B. So remember, parallel means they have to be on the same plane, and it goes through B, so parallel would be line AB. So that's right here. So that's going to be parallel to that because they're on the same plane and they don't intersect, and it includes point B. Okay. All right. Then we know, let me get rid of that. We want a line or lines that are perpendicular to CD. And so knowing in a fish aquarium, you got corners that are all perpendicular. So then perpendicular to this, and it has to include point B from the directions, that's going to be line BC. And that's the only answer that goes through B and is perpendicular to line CD. Okay, we want a skew line that goes through point B, and it's skew to CD. So remember, skew means it's on a different plane and it doesn't intersect. So then that would be line BF here. Even though point B is on the same plane, the whole line BF is not on the same plane as CD. So then that would be line BF. And there's no other skew line that goes through point B. Okay? All right, and then the last one there is planes that are parallel to plane CDH. So CDH is this one on this side. So the only plane parallel to that will be this plane on this side. And to name it, you just name it with 3 of these 4 points. So I could do ABF, for instance. And that's the only plane in the picture here that would be parallel to this plane here. Okay? All right, then on the last one here, number 28, is that I think that a lot of you would have a question on, is this multiple choice one. So angle RPQ, so follow those letters, we have RPQ. So that's this angle right here. Okay? And then we have angle PRS. So if you follow the letters PRS, it's at the vertex, that's that angle there. So then I'm going to extend the lines that are touching these two angles. And then there's this line right here. So really I'm ignoring these black lines here. So if you look at this, you extended, these are the two lines, this is the transversal. Okay, so we extended the lines, and we're going to do something similar today. We extended the lines of this closed figure. I don't want to extend these lines because then that's going to confuse me. The reason why I picked these lines is because these two lines are touching this angle, these two lines are touching this angle. So these are in between these two lines, so it's one of the interiors, so we can get rid of that one and we can get rid of that one because these are in between the two lines. And these are diagonal from each other. They're not consecutive because they're not on the same side, like here and here of the transversal. So these are diagonal from each other, so B is the correct answer. And so we're going to learn when we start having pictures like this how we can still identify angles even though they're in this closed figure instead of the picture that we're used to seeing. Okay? So that's good practice. That's actually leading into what we're going to do today. So go ahead and close up all of your notes, put your homework away, and take out a pencil. You don't need a calculator for this 3.1 quiz, and get prepared for that.